Talk about the issues now with Tyson Slocum. He's the Director of Public Citizens Energy Program. Tyson, welcome.
Great to be here.
All right, so let's begin with this surface level ozone pollution. Listen, I'm not an expert. I'm a journalist. Explain to us what this is and what it means.
Well, the vast majority of surface level ozone comes from automobile emissions, and specifically from nitrogen oxide, which is a large emission from mainly diesel vehicles. It's mixing with volatile organic compounds, and once sunlight hits it, you're creating ozone that creates this blanket-like effect that has tremendous negative health effects. In New Delhi alone, about 3,000 people die from ozone and other poor air quality every year.
And that so just this seems is like a high number.
Absolutely. So this is a very serious problem. And like your report said, New Delhi has the worst ozone pollution in the world. There are some other factors as well, like dust, some industrial pollution, also the fact that many people cook and heat their homes with fires. That's adding to that particulates in the air. All of this amounts to a lot of very bad health effects for humans.
Tell me about some of those health. I imagine asthma could probably be one of them.
Absolutely, because you're inhaling these, because nitrogen oxide is, it has particulates along with these volatile organic compounds. So you're inhaling that into your lungs. And so it's imperative that India and other countries take aggressive efforts to try and limit the emissions of these harmful compounds.
All right, let's put up some graphics and then I want to get your take on it if you want to look on our screen. The first compares levels of 3 greenhouse gases in 2013 to the records we have from the year 1750. Methane is up 253%, carbon dioxide up to 142%, nitrous oxide, I don't know if I pronounced that right, up to 121%. They're considered the key greenhouse gases responsible for warming of Earth. Then we have another graphic to show you comparing projections for next year to the records from 1880s. This is a long time ago. This is just the amount of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. In the 1880s, Tyson, there were 280 parts per million. Next year, 400 parts per million. So the obvious question is, how do you turn the tide?
Well, you have to start by emitting less greenhouse gas emissions. The largest source of those is when we burn fossil fuels like coal and oil and natural gas. And that's why when the world leaders meet in Paris on November 30th to start talking about how we're going to come to a global agreement to reduce these greenhouse gas emissions, that's going to be important because the only way we're going to address this is if we have a global solution. So all the major countries, except for Saudi Arabia, have come up with some form of commitment. India recently came up with theirs. They plan to cut between 33 and 35% of their emissions over 2005 levels. It's still going to end up, it's something called carbon intensity, so reducing the amount of carbon emissions as a share of their economic growth. So India is still projecting under this proposal to grow their carbon emissions by 300% by 2030. But at the same time, they're claiming their economy is going to grow by 700%. So that's the reduction.
Ask you about the Paris conference coming up. Do you truly believe there will be an agreement of substance coming out of this conference? Or do you think there will be just discussions, handshakes, smiles, and the things they plan to do? Or do you truly believe there will be some kind of agreement?
I do think that we're seeing some pledges to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. I think you've seen some earnest agreements between China and the United States.
From last year.
Now, it's going to be very challenging to enforce some of these pledges. It's basically going to be a handshake and look you in the eye type of agreement. I don't think
Trust.
Exactly, the Paris, it's going to be kind of name and shame is going to be the type of enforcement. They're not going to have some sort of third-party monitor. It's going to be trust and verification. So this is a big challenge, but I do think that the world's leaders understand the importance of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. They understand that the science of climate change orders us to take aggressive action. And I think we're doing the most that we can do under the current political and economic conditions.
All right, I know you'll be watching it for us. Thank you.